Hello, everyone. Hey, Chris. How you doing?
What's going on? What's going on? What's going
Say,
on?
we'll say Happy New Year's to everyone. Today's show is a special show. Me and Chris Allen. Chris, go ahead. Let them know who you are. Give them a little background on who you are, so they know, kind of know you as the DJ that I know you as.
Absolutely. Name's Chris Allen, owner of Ultimate Entertainment Solutions out of Goldsboro, North Carolina. Been servicing this area professionally since 2017. Of course, I've been doing it as a hobby well before that. So, been working with Mario for many, many years, and just he's been a great mentor to me and kind of showing me the right way of doing things.
All right. So just so y'all know that we have a network of DJs to where we all work together. And that's one of the best things about our network is if I'm booked, I refer them out to Chris and other DJs in our network. And by us working together, we're able to spread the wealth and make sure that everyone's able to get a piece of this DJ, which we're going to talk about that. And the key thing for us today is we're going to talk about the DJ industry and what that looks like in 2025. Now, before we start the show, we were looking at the numbers, and the numbers are wow. I can't believe the numbers I heard. I mean, it's some serious numbers, but we're going to talk about those numbers, and we're going to talk about a little bit of everything. We're going to talk about how what kind of like what DJ services look like in 2025, the issues and concerns we may have in 2025 dealing with our customers slash vendors slash venues, and then some other additional things. So first thing first is Chris, what's your expectation with your company for 2025 as a DJ entertainment company? What are your expectations?
To continue to elevate this industry. Recently, I've encountered a lot of DJs who kind of we've dropped the ball. I'll just say that. Seems like the expectation level has kind of lowered. So for me, I want to start raising that expectation level again for the service and the quality of service that we provide. I can't tell you how many times last year I got phone calls that DJ just didn't show up the day
Right,
of the wedding.
right.
Um, the day before the wedding, just stop answering, and that's unacceptable. It's just that's just not acceptable. So I just want to bring the quality back to this area, and I can't say it's for every area. I just know the little piece of pie that we're in, and it seems like we're kind of getting a bad stigma, and that's kind of hurting our industry because now it devalues what we bring to that industry and what we bring to the events because we do a lot for the events. A lot of people want to make the jokes that we're just button pushers or whatever it is. Behind the scenes, we do a lot. We do a lot.
And I think that's the biggest piece is that I've heard in 2024 was we were just having a lot of DJs that was just not showing up or showing up extremely late. I heard a couple of times the DJ showed up like an hour late for the event. And don't get me wrong, for the 12 years I've been in business under my company, I never.
Mom, so much fabric. Um,
What's that?
I don't know.
Blueberries. Buy the dress, honey. Buy now, pay over time.
Okay, we
Sounds
got a
like an
commercial.
ad.
Yeah. Oh, okay. It was one of the iPads. Let me. I'm like, okay. It was one of the iPads. I'm like, what? Like, what's going on? Yeah, that's what it was. Okay. Y'all sorry about that. I'm like, what in the world? What's going on? Like, but no, no. but no, but that was the biggest issue was people just DJ not showing up. It really wasn't the performance, but it had a lot more to do with them not showing up on time. And I got it, and some of the things I listened to some of the again once I mean it's the same trend over the years is that the DJs are not showing up. They don't have the proper equipment. They don't know how to MC. Uh, then they were playing the inappropriate music. And to me, that speaks volumes of how much communication or how much time did you take time out to talk to to really talk to your client, your customer, because a lot of customers need to understand that you just don't just put all the trust in the DJ of them to perform what you did not express.
Correct.
And I think that's one of the biggest. I think you had the. I know one of the biggest issues you had last year was the encounter with our counterparts with the wedding planners and coordinators is communication.
Communication is key.
It's a key. It's like we can't, as a DJ, and I don't care what nobody says, the DJ needs to be fully aware of everything, including surprises or whatever, because you can't go to the DJ at the last minute and expect them to perform something that they weren't prepared to perform. Now, don't get me
Correct.
wrong. Can it be done? Yes. But
Right.
it's better to coordinate it in advance.
Exactly.
Last minute plan preparation, it always turns out bad. But go ahead,
Correct.
Chris.
I was gonna say I like to know every little detail, even to the fact of what color draping for the
Right.
tables you're gonna have, because I try my best to match that with my my furniture. Granted, some furniture you just can't, and some equipment you can't, but I try my best to match that. So when I don't get those changes, those last minute changes, and let's say everything is all white, and granted, I bring, just in case that they switch on me, but it adds time to us. It adds times for us to
Right.
switch when we're already pre-prepped and ready to go in, and we're because we're firing on all cylinders. So 5 minutes might not seem a lot of time in the grand scheme of things, but 5 minutes is something that we could be doing, focusing on something else. So there are times where equipment fails. We cannot prevent that. We can do everything in our power to test and make sure the equipment is great and working the day prior before we load it into the trailer the day of. And then
Right.
we get to the event or the venue and something happens. Granted, we do have backup equipment, but of course, if you have time, you would like to try to get the original equipment working.
Right.
So that 5 minutes is some time that you could be trying to work to get that working.
And that's why it's important. That's why we try to plan everything to the T. Just like what you were saying about the color scheme. I mean, like most DJs have black and white.
Correct.
They either have a black setup or they have a white setup, and that's more so to go with the color scheme. If you're doing weddings, most chances you're going to do a white scheme. Now, let's say using dark colors. So that's something important. But a lot of times when I sit back, some of my clients are kind of surprised of the questions I asked them because it has a lot more to do with the planning side of things than it does the DJ side of things. And the thing is that if you're a good DJ, music is not really an issue. It's the coordination on what happens and what takes place that becomes the challenge.
Correct. Correct. Correct.
And that's why it's crucial. Like now, most time you're dealing with a seasonal DJ that does this on a normal basis. Let's say with weddings and things, there are certain requirements or certain things. It's just like um, there's like when you're doing weddings, there it's a completely different than any other event because weddings most time have designated music that has to be played. So as a DJ, if they're not asking those questions of what song are y'all coming in on, what song are you going to do your first dance on, then they're setting themselves up for failure because if they don't have the music, then guess what? Now you're at the mercy of the DJ to where now you got to play something different, or you have to wait until they get access to that song either through streaming services or
Correct.
downloading it.
Correct.
But that was the biggest. I think that's one of the biggest challenges we had in 2024 was just a lot of breakdown in communication. I know you had a lot. I had a lot of just breakdown of communication with the coordinator, and sometimes for us, it makes our job a lot harder. It should make it easy, but
Exactly.
it depends on the type. It depends on the background behind that coordinator. Is this person just doing it just because they're trying to make extra money, or are they certified? They have the background to be a coordinator or planner, and that's something that clients, customers need to understand. When you choose Aunt Juju to be your coordinator, if Aunt Juju doesn't have the background, that kind of puts us in a bad position as DJ entertainers because if we're not going through you, then Aunt Juju has to really know exactly what it is you want in order for them to answer the questions that the vendors are going to ask.
I'll even go as far as this. I don't even mind working with the Aunt Juju as long as they communicate. So
Right. The communication part. Right. Absolutely.
exactly. So and I've worked with some planners and coordinators that have not been as seasoned as some of the others, and it was okay because they communicated. So
Right.
they asked the questions of, "Hey, what can I help you with?" or "What do you need from me?" or "What am I not giving you?" So it worked. But it's the ones who just don't communicate. That's the ones that I can't get with.
Right. And I think that's the biggest piece is communication because one of the things that I've learned from last year is if you're giving us bad information, um, the time that when the time and location, where you're going to place us at, what's going to take place. Oh, by the way, you have a videographer that wants to connect into your system. I mean, there's so many different things that we need to be aware of, so we make sure we have the right stuff available for them to do. And one of my biggest challenges last year was um, the effect of some a band trying to connect into my system. I don't know why I have this situation. It seems like every year I run across this problem where a band doesn't want to bring in their own equipment, so they try to take the easy way out by connecting to the DJ. So, have you had that? Did you have that problem in 2024?
I didn't. I'm very upfront, and I tell them I do not support any other um, bands or anything like that because it takes a lot to support bands. And if you want the perfect sound, granted they might just come in with something small, but I know some bass guitars and all that they have their own particular mics that
Right,
they need, but I don't do all that because sometimes even if they want to do like singing and stuff like that, sometimes the singer want the reverb and all of that put on in the track.
right,
I you know I'm not getting paid to be a sound engineer at that point. I'm a
right,
DJ, so there's a distinct difference between sound engineering and a DJ. Now, if you want me to step into a sound engineering role, we can discuss possibly doing that. However, the cost is going to reflect that because I probably will have a secondary person there to DJ, and I'm just going to sound engineer because I won't do both at the same time.
right.
So
And that's something that people have to understand. There is a big now simple things like a soloist singing. That's one thing.
right,
That's not a
correct,
major
correct,
challenge. But when you start talking about um, like I said, the special effects and all that, that's a sound engineer's job,
right,
and that's just not taking shortcuts. Sometimes it's not the best way to go when it comes to doing events, especially weddings.
right.
Um, it's important that you just do it the right way versus not. But that's just some of the things that we just came in 2024. So moving forward to 2025, like what type of services are you focusing on in 2025?
Honestly, I'm kind of getting back to the basics. I'm kind of getting away with all of the some of the glitz and the glam. One just due to regulations that the government put on some of it. So I had trouble getting the pyrotechnic license because, of course, North Carolina has officially, for the past several years, said that using cold sparks you have to have pyrotechnic license. So I've applied for it 3 times, and for whatever reason, I cannot get a response from the fire marshal. Um, don't know why. So I've kind of given up on it. So I'm kind of getting away from that. So me, I'm focusing on pretty much the basics and trying to give more quality over quantity now. Of course, I'm still gonna provide the photo booth, dancing on the clouds as of right now. So I'm still gonna have some specialty stuff, but it's gonna be more or less the basics. And honestly, going through 2024, the only thing that I will probably take that will probably drop off as far as revenue. Co-Sparks were asked and requested quite a bit in 2024, but that's really the only thing that I saw that was really requested that I will no longer be offering.
Is the Coast Parks?
Correct, correct.
Okay. Yeah, I had a problem the first time I bought them. The very first time I used them, I had a problem with them, and I just said, "No, I'm not doing it." I sent those things
Right.
back, and she took it off my service list because it's a, it's great when it works, but when it
Correct.
doesn't, it's not. It's a
Correct.
bad thing. It's a real bad thing.
Yeah. And I mean, it's a like you said, it's a great add-on. However, we had individuals who abused it. And like they said, so further research and deeper dive into the cold spark. So they are technically considered a cold spark, but they still do come out rather kind of hot when they first come out. So I think when they first come out, they're still around 500 degrees at the base. But as they reach the higher levels, that's when they cool off, and it's kind of like if you hit metal, like you have a pole edger, and
Uh-huh.
it's the metal, and you hit it on the concrete. It's that spark. Basically, you're creating the same effect. They just use granulars, and it just ignites that spark. There's no flame, but however, it is still a bit hot at the bottom. And I've done several demonstrations outside of venues, in like in controlled areas, to ensure that what I had was legit. I had the certification papers and everything.
Right.
I put all kind of materials in it before I put them in service. But again, it's just one of those things that, as an owner, you have to look at liability. Is that something that I'm willing to be fined or lose my license for, company license for? No. So
No. And I think that's something that when a person invests in something, they got to look into all the guidelines. 'Cause every state is different, and then in
right,
some places, like certain places in the state, are different than other states. So when you go into those things where you're dealing with, and sometimes it's broken down by the venue because some
correct.
venues are very strict when it comes to certain things. But so when you sit back and you start talking about investing in the things, you got to look at the all the above. Don't just shoot for one thing.
Correct.
So
Correct. So I say once trends are when it's trending, you got to jump on it, because it could be trending for 2 or 3 years, and then after that, it's not trending or stricter regulations, and then you have to make that moral decision. What are you gonna do? So
right. So let me ask you this question: What if I was a beginning DJ? What would be the primary thing I tell them to focus for 2025?
for me, honestly, I would say a good computer, one, because that I mean you can't do anything without a good computer.
Right.
So I would say focus on getting a good computer. Get whatever, whether you want to do controller, whether you want to do computer software, whatever you want to do to actually perform your duties as a DJ. So if you want a controller, get a controller. So figure out the path that you want to go to perform your services.
Right.
Find that. Make sure you're getting quality equipment. Um, Granted, I know all our budgets are not the same, but they do still have some decent quality equipment for lower budgets. Just decent equipment that you can later grow from, and then actually really look at what the industry is needing, far as customer service, and then provide that customer service, because that's what we're lacking right now is quality customer service.
I think that's across the board for every company, every business. Is customer service has just gone ever since COVID. It's gone downhill,
Right.
and I think more people need to understand that the better customer service you have, the better reviews you get, and your events will actually come out better.
Correct. 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 So
So, so what I would say with if you're getting started as a DJ, that computer, I would say the basic requirement if you're just doing music, it needs to have an i5 processor or faster. And I say that is because it depends on the software that you're using and the type of controller that you're using and how your music is connected. If you're going from strictly from the laptop, that's different compared to using a thumb drive or external hard drive.
correct.
And the faster the processor, the better chances of your stuff crashing on you is going to be slim to none. I've sat back and seen people use the Hero Packer. I'm picking on Hero Packers. The Hero Packers computers and they're straight up garbage. And it has a lot to do with the processor because you can go right now and buy a Hewlett Packard computer, but if it's below an i5, it's not going to work too well for DJing. Now some people can use it, but it's like the lower the processor, the less you can do as a DJ.
Right. Right.
And that's something that, like me, because I'm a video DJ, I have to have an i7 processor. I have 64 gigs of RAM, so I will never run into any major hiccups or issues because my processor. And then if I'm using an external hard drive or thumb drive, that it makes up for it. That rate, that buzz, well, not the buzz rate, but the way it communicates back and forth with the computer, that path that goes to the music is not going to be interrupted as quickly as if I'm not using that fast processor or having that much RAM. Because nowadays, if you have a gaming computer, a good gaming computer will do great for DJing because
That it will.
it has the max out. And then like Chris, for y'all who don't know, Chris has his own satellite with his laptop. He has an i9, which i9 is the highest you can go. I ain't there yet. Like I said, I think that's my next purchase would be an i9 in the future, but that's just one of the key functions because in some cases you can actually get away with just using a laptop versus a controller. It depends on how good you are at DJing.
Right. Right.
So that's important.
I'll say this. So I started off on a 2010 MacBook, and I ran that 2010 MacBook up until probably 2 years ago. I thought it was the best thing ever. That thing was built like a tank. I even upgraded it. I took out the CD drive. I put in another hard drive, so it had close to 3 terabytes of hard drive space. I mean, I maxed it out to what to the max it could do.
Right.
Um, the thing was built like a tank. However, I could really only DJ with it. I couldn't do anything with it. Once stems came out, I tried to do stems,
It
and
could
it
do.
was like So that's what made me upgrade to the computer I have now. Right now with this computer, I'm able to run stems flawlessly, no issues. Let's say I get a request that I don't have, because sometimes you're just not gonna have it. That's the only time I stream. I'll stream the song because I pay for the title DJ, so I pay for that DJ subscription. So if I get a request and I don't have it, I will try to stream it just to please the guests. I'm also running my lighting software off of that one computer, and you can't latency. I mean,
Right.
you can't tell any like I'm doing anything. I mean, that thing is a tank,
Yeah.
bro.
Like I said, it has its own. Like I said, it comes with its own satellite. So it's like it's and that's why I say, 'cause, yeah, your computer that last one you bought before that was before you went to Korea, right?
Right, correct,
That was
correct.
the one you got before you went to Korea.
Yeah,
Um, and I think that's one of the biggest things is having the right equipment to be able to DJ. And I've seen DJs where I'm gonna be honest, I was that DJ when I first started, trying to take the cheapest way out by getting the cheapest equipment, and I
same.
learned you're going to spend more money going cheap than if you just go ahead and buy the right stuff at the right time and it lasts you ever. I've had speakers. I still got the same speakers. When I finally decided to go more on the professional side of equipment, I still got those same speakers. Those speakers have been with me now for almost 10 years.
Exactly.
Which is the the QSCs,
Good
and
season.
the QSCs they have a longer lifespan than besides the Bose, because like I use nothing but Bose and QSCs, so there's a longer lifespan. But when you go cheap, understand what you're getting because the last thing you want is for something to go wrong during the event.
Exactly. Exactly. I can't tell you how many speakers I went through because, like I said, I started out on the cheaper end,
Right,
and it was a little bit of lack of knowledge on my end too. I didn't really know how speakers were constructed. I knew how they were constructed and built. I
right,
just didn't know. I guess I didn't really know what I was looking for in a speaker. I'll say that.
right.
So I kind of got caught up in some of the gimmicks, and um, I bought some of the cheaper speakers, and I'm not gonna throw their name out there. They're coming a longer way. They're coming a better. They're coming up. Um, and I'll say this: they have their purpose. I still
Yeah,
have one now, right? And it has
right,
its purpose. It does well with cocktail hour. It does perfect on cocktail hour. It does well during ceremonies because again, it's not built to be the party speaker, so it has its purposes. But once you start doing higher class events and more professional events, you'll definitely want good speakers. Heron
Right.
Barringers, I'm sorry, I'm gonna throw them out there. Don't get those.
Right. Don't. Yeah. See, that's where
Those
I
are not
missed.
gonna pay.
That was my big mix up at the very beginning. Was I bought those and I blew those out on. I blew one of them during the event, and I was so embarrassed. But yeah.
I've seen one like they bought them, uh, used them at the house, took them out to the event, and they didn't even work. Didn't even turn on. So that's why the ones I had, at least I was able to use them for at least 2 seasons. That's why I
Right.
won't throw their name out there because they're coming up. But so
But that's something that like if you're going to start up as a DJ, if you want to start, and we're gonna talk about these numbers that we found out earlier about being a DJ because I'm like wow I can't believe how the numbers have completely jumped up like crazy on how much a DJ can make per event. You know what? Let's go ahead and jump right into
yeah.
that part because go ahead, give us Chris,
So
give us
we'll start with 2024. Basically, a summary of 2024, and this is
okay,
just global. This is not North Carolina, right?
right,
Globally, global DJ equipment market. This is for equipment, 542.2 million. So now that will correlate into why we charge what we charge because it that right there directly affects how much we have to charge
right,
as DJs. Think about that number 542.2 million
and that's just
uh,
how much money was spent for DJ spending money on buying equipment.
on equipment. So expected growth is a 6.8 or 6.80%.
That's what this
6.80.
year. That's
That's
for this
that. Well,
year.
that's what they were expecting, kind of toward the end of 2024. When you go into 2025, as of today, let's see. Let me scroll and find it. Let's see where'd it go. As of today, I got so much information, so I'm trying
Yeah, your assistant is hooking you up with everything.
to. So this is the Raleigh market. I think it's on this one. All right, no, I have to find it later. We'll keep
Okay.
going. So, um, DJ consoles. So then it breaks it down to like your DJ controllers and whatnot.
Oh wow.
124.2 million, and that's but they're that's this is what they're expecting growth between 2024 and 2028.
So
All right.
pretty much your basic DJ, if you're just establishing yourself, and then there's a difference between establishment and maintaining. And when you establish, you're looking at if you invest the right amount of money, you're going to spend at least $3,000 at just starting off if you get all the right basic service stuff. And when I say basic, I'm talking about extremely basic. We're talking about the speakers, the controller, if you use a controller,
Correct.
and then all the additional things like microphones, things of that nature. That's how much money you're going to spend, and the most of the money you're going to spend is on the laptop, the
Correct.
controller or mixer, and then the speakers, and then last but not least is the microphone.
Exactly.
So just getting that basic, you're going to start. Well, you're going to look at 3,000 now. If you go to cheap way, of course, you can save about half of that, but you better be very careful when you go to like you go with I would say the non-name brand stuff that hasn't been properly tested or put in a situation where someone come back and say, "Hey, this is good qualifying equipment for DJing services for events."
exactly. So,
So go ahead.
oh, I was gonna say, I won't go into. I did find 2025. We'll say 2025 for 2025. I'll keep it in 2024, right? Um, so listen to this. It gives you market demographics. So the market demographics split is gender split. So it's 23.5% women, 76.5% men. This is just talking about
Right, right.
DJs, not basically clients. So we need more women
And don't
DJs.
get me
Come
wrong,
on,
we're seeing a lot more. I know just lately, within this last year, I'm seeing a larger number of women DJs come out, and
DJs.
they're. I know in our market here in Fayetteville, I think I've seen maybe 3 or 4 additional female DJs than the norm, because we've always had them, but I'm starting to see more of them in our area, in our market,
Right.
which is great. It's
Exactly.
extremely great.
Exactly. And it gives you even ethnicity breakdown. We won't go into
Right.
that one. Um, so let's
Well, let's
see.
go into the key one is, what is the average cost for just your
Yep.
average DJ? Not your. We're not going to talk about the professional DJ because we know their numbers are extremely high. But let's just take an average DJ. What?
Well, I mean, we can go down because it's pretty relatively
Okay.
short. So, market overview as of today. So for your professional DJ rate, and this is pulling for Raleigh, it ranges from $2,000 to $6,000. And this is Raleigh area, because I'm closer to Raleigh than I am Fayetteville, so it pulls around Raleigh. Mid tier DJ starting around 1,000. Average, and this is NC. Now this is not Raleigh. This is
North
just
Carolina.
NC. So average NC wedding cost is around 33,000. So we have a small piece of that pie for 33,000, if that's what the average wedding cost
Right.
is.
But see those, and again,
But
these are. I want people to understand, when you hear these numbers, a lot of the low end weddings are not really counted in these numbers. Most of the people who are capturing this information are professional companies that are out here doing the wedding. So when you hear those numbers, I really want you to understand that there's a difference, because you have those that don't report their information, and then
exactly,
you have those that
exactly,
are in a on a professional platform that report that information. So that 33,000, if the proper numbers were given, you can do a good wedding for 15,000, for half the price of what they're saying.
right,
But in order
right,
to keep our value, they're always going to replace the highest numbers versus the technical normal number, or I should say average number. Um, and
correct,
so
correct,
that's why I said everything. And if you haven't paid attention, or if you don't do the industry, anytime you say wedding, the price automatically goes up. I know as
exactly,
DJs, we can
exactly,
justify our pricing because we're doing more than one setup. That's probably the quickest way to explain. As it requires a lot more information, a lot more being involved, and then we're setting up more than one system. So that's why our numbers
exactly,
go up. Other people's numbers go up is because based off of the amount of people that you're bringing in, and the type of decor that you're having. A 50th birthday party and a wedding decor are going to be different. It depends on the type of, like, again, the vision of the customer. That price
correct,
always goes
correct,
up and down based off that. But for DJs, our stuff can easily be regulated based off the type of event and the services that
exactly,
you're asking for.
exactly. And I think I know, and I'll speak for DJs. I won't speak for any other industry. I know for us as well. When we have these special events like weddings, we have one chance to get it
Right,
right.
right.
I'll say this: I had a wedding last year, and I identify when things don't go right. So it was raining, or it's starting to drizzle. Um, I was very hesitant on pulling the plug because we were outside. I don't know if it was a family member or someone. They kept saying, "Well, just wait, just wait, just wait." So I kept waiting, kept waiting. We finally started the wedding. Laptop got kind of wet. I don't know if that played a factor in it, but however, every song played except for I couldn't get the recessional song for whatever reason. It I couldn't get it to play. Don't know if something got wet off in that laptop or what. Um, After a couple minutes, got to playing around with it, got to turning everything off, turning it on, everything it played, and they redid it. However, it wasn't as magical because it was not the original time. So we get one chance to get it
Right.
right. So that's another reason why uh, weddings are a little bit more expensive because there's a lot of high stake
Right.
into that.
Absolutely.
We don't get normal times. You don't get a do over. This one they were a little bit more relaxed and they wanted a do over. So um, it it was kind of softened the blow for me. However, I was not satisfied with that. It still was not up to my standard, but it did soften the blow that we were able to do the
Right.
recessional song. And I was happy at least it was on that song and not the processional.
Right. Right. I mean, that makes a big
So
difference, and that's one of the things that, again, um, I get it, I understand it, but like sometimes the customer needs to understand having a valid weather plan is important and critical. And as a DJ, we need to be prepared, because I have no problem if it's raining outside and you want me to continue on with it. I have no problem popping up a small tent. I have a small tent I use when I do have customers for some reason they want to continue to do it in the rain. I have a 5x5 pop up tent that I will put up just to protect my equipment from the weather. Um,
right,
those are things that we need to be aware. Like me, every time I have a weather report and I know I gotta be outside, I automatically take that 5x5 tent and I put it in there. I always keep umbrella, the big golf umbrellas. Um, I always
right,
keep those in my load, but I'm always prepared for a weather plan. And then I know if I'm going into a situation and I know the weather plan is going to be bad, I'm going to be prepared for it. And that's something that a lot of people need to take into consideration. As a DJ, it's crucial that you speak up, when it comes to the planning portion of it. That's one of the things that I've sat back and heard, where if the DJ would have spoken up, he or she would have spoken up about their the restraints on doing outdoor events, it would have saved them their equipment. I know one time I did equipment. I did a wedding outside. I lost a speaker and I lost a mixer
hmm
because I didn't speak up. I didn't say anything,
right,
and it
right.
was crazy because the actual controller that got wet, um, pretty much when I went to go use it again for the next event, it caught on fire.
Yep,
And I mean, thank God I knew how to route everything through the mixer to continue to keep playing. But those are things that, as a DJ, we need to be fully aware of. Those things we need to set boundaries in place. Don't say yes. This is one of the things I also learned in 2024. DJs were saying yes to something, but yet didn't have the capability or the equipment to do it. So
exactly,
then I was getting a
exactly.
lot of last minute phone calls. Hey, do you have this? No, I don't do that. What are you talking about? Cold spark machines, don't have those. I don't do the walking cloud, dancing on the cloud no more, because those became issues and problems that I just didn't want to. I didn't want to deal with anymore. But you really need to make sure before you say yes, you have all the right stuff.
Exactly.
And
Exactly. I'll give you another example. Oh,
no,
go
go
ahead.
ahead.
Go ahead. I was gonna say I'll give you another example. So, I believe that's why I pinpointed that controller going bad, because I used that controller at a beach wedding. However, um, with the beach wedding, they waited just standard for them to wait to the last minute to set up because it's a public beach.
Right,
So um, that's another thing. Um, you just gotta know your limb facts. So I got there plenty of time. I mean, I even had I took a nap in the truck because I got there with so much time. So I had the reception set up, I had cocktail set up, and I had to wait on ceremony. I really couldn't set up ceremony until I would think it was like 30 minutes until it was time for it to actually for a ceremony to happen. So I got down there, got everything. I had a lot of sand washed up on the pier, so it was kind of hard to maneuver everything down there. Got everything down, set up. They were doing dual weddings, so I had to continuously where they had me. it was kind of on the corner of the pier where others wanted to come down to try to use the pier to go to the other wedding. So um, I couldn't get all the way onto the beach because the pier was so in such bad shape with sand and everything. So I had to kind of stay there on that corner. So um, I had to keep kind of breaking down equipment and putting it back together for the other wedding. Once I finally got set up, I noticed that the controller or speaker wasn't working. I had enough time to go get another cable, tried it out, didn't work. Went and got another laptop, tried it out, didn't work. Reset both laptops, tried it out, didn't work. Got multiple cables. So I had all that time, right, when I got set up. And mind you, like I said, we started 30 minutes prior to the actual ceremony. So you could imagine how much time it took me to actually set
Right.
up. Um, Long story short, I had people showing up, sitting down, and now I'm frantically sweating because I can't figure out why I can't get sound to work. Um, what I had to finally do was I just started taking deep breaths, started panicking. I believe it was the wedding planner. He was like, "Can you just Bluetooth?" And I was like, "You know what? You're right." And I was able to just Bluetooth, bypass everything. So I Bluetoothed, and I was using my computer. However, last minute changes. One of the bride wanted to add a song for someone else, so I was in the mix of trying to do that. So when I tested it out, everybody was kind of getting ready to sit down. It played that song that I was testing, blared real loud because of course all volumes were not set to the Bluetooth
Right.
and everything. So of course it makes you look a little bit unprofessional. So again, limb facts, kind of knowing, like you said, when to say, all right, I can't, like, I need this much time, I
Right.
need this, I need that, because that could have been all avoided. Me, like I tell them, 30 minutes prior, I'm supposed to be playing
Right.
music
Right.
because I always get people
Right.
coming early. So if I'm not playing music 30 minutes prior, I'm not happy.
Right.
And then we start kind of, a lot of times we're cool, collected, but we start frantically, things going to start crazy, especially when you're trying everything. All right, I tried a new speaker. I mean, I ran up there, and from where the
Yeah.
main event was to the beach, it
Right.
wasn't long. So I ran all the way up there, got a speaker, had to go up the elevator, come down the elevator. I mean, I'm in a full suit. I'm running with the speaker. I'm setting the speaker up, and it's not the speaker. So I'm like, I've changed laptops. I've changed the speaker. I've changed cables, and it was an actual the controller component failed because I have a standard just already built pre-built ceremony. So it was a crazy day, but no other hiccups after that. But just another example of why you have to know when to say
Right.
no, or that can't, like, I need this much time, or I need
And I
this.
think that's the biggest piece is that I will say, I'm gonna say if I can't do it, I'm gonna be honest as a DJ entertainer, and as a business owner, I'm gonna say I can't do it. And over the years, I've had some crazy requests. But one of the things I've noticed last year is it's an increase to where a lot of people want to play ratchet music during the wedding. And when I'm saying ratchet, I'm talking about uncensored, hardcore cussing song like music. And I just don't do that. That's in my contract. I don't play it. I don't like offending people, so I'm not going to do it. Last year was a May 2024 was a major increase of people wanting more inappropriate music played during their wedding. And that is something that I don't even like to listen to the music myself, better yet, play it to where it's going to offend somebody else. So that's just one of those things that we, as DJs, you have to be honest. You have to put exactly certain things in place to make sure we understand our pros and cons. I'm gonna say this: don't change who you are for a dollar. Don't do it. You lose value in who you are, and you lose value in your company. So it's so important that as a DJ entertainer company, you need to have boundaries and procedures. Just like when you go into a situation, I know one of the things that we discuss. I know this is an ongoing problem, is the placement of the DJ. Um, I put it in my contract. I've learned years ago is I have to put in exactly how much spacing I need to in order for me to DJ. I don't. I mean, because if you don't, they'll have you in a corner. I call it the timeout corner, standing on one leg with one arm up, trying to maneuver. That I mean, that's how tight the spacing get. So as a DJ, it's critical. Now for a video DJ, is extremely critical because now I have to take on the additional of a line of sight. And
Yep.
as a DJ, that where you have to, anytime line of sight is a crucial portion of your setup, you really have to be very, very hardcore about where you're going to be placed at.
Yep. Yep.
Because I know, Chris, you had last. I'll tell you, last year, boy. I'm telling you, you could have had a whole show all by yourself with all the issues that you ran into last year.
I'll say this: last year, it made me buy more equipment, battery powered equipment, because I got so tired of fighting it, and I have just kind of given in. So now I have battery powered gobo
Right,
lights. So you put me in a small corner. Guess what? My gobo lights can go anywhere in the room. um, I have batteries now. Excuse me, that can power my speakers for 5 plus hours. You put me in there, and I also have a Bluetooth device that I can. I don't prefer it because there's points of failures. However, if you put me in that corner somewhere, then I will tell you this is how it's going to play out because I don't have the proper spacing. Now, if there's a point of failure for the Bluetooth, you're going to take that responsibility because that is going to be on you. I gave you my professional advice. You chose to ignore it. I can't do nothing more than that.
right.
Besides just decline services. Um, so it, you know, yeah, yeah, yeah,
And that's something and that's something one of the biggest. That's one of the over the years. That's always been the biggest challenge. Is you'll have a planner or a coordinator or a decorator try to, and I have to explain to people, we are the primary for entertaining the guests.
correct.
If we are not properly set up, we cannot properly entertain the guests. And and I tell people all the time, and that's why I say with Bluetooth is kind of risky because once that line of sight is blocked, and there's a lot of things blocking that line of sight, you're going to have a quick failure or a cut in and outs. And that's why Bluetooth is not really, it works perfect outdoors because your line of sight most of the time is not going to be blocked. But when you're indoors, Bluetooth is not really a great thing to use.
Correct.
And
Correct.
that's the line of sight. It's just like when certain venues, we already know the obstacles. We already know the issues. So we're going to give you our best recommendations. And then when you choose to put us in a place that we already know is going to be a problem, it's going to be an issue. Just like a venue with stairs. Um, if you have no elevator for a DJ to get in, we're required to go up on a platform or go up a layer or a floor, and you don't have stairs. Like me, I would refuse to do it. Um, I would no longer if you don't have if you're putting me on a different level and there's no elevator, I can't do it.
Yeah.
I have to be either on the same level or I will not do an event where I have to walk up a bunch of stairs. There's certain circumstances. I actually had to buy a whole DJ system last year, a complete system, because that was the scenario. Was the actual the main location? One of the locations was up the stairs, so it wasn't that bad because I had to purchase the right equipment to be able to go up the stairs. But I just said that it's just not worth it because that I took a beating that night. I took a major beating. So I just
Yes,
said
sir.
from that was one of the biggest changes I made in 2025 is I refuse to go up any stairs.
Yep.
Uh,
Yep.
it's just not worth it. It's-
So look, we going I guess we'll get off. Don't change because of money or change because someone else wants you to change. But Stanford, yeah, no, you're right. You're right. You're
yeah,
right. You're absolutely right. You're right. I think for me, and I just speak for me. I think that was the deciding factor for me to buy that equipment because I've been looking at those battery powered um, gobo lights for a while now, and
right,
at the time, and Mario, I kept going back and forth,
right.
so it finally justified the purchase, uh, or
It
at
did.
least,
Yeah,
at least, at least in my mind, it justified it. So, um, that I think that was one of the reasons why I just said. whatever. I'm gonna get it now. And then with the Bluetooth now, I can do satellite speakers as well without
Right.
having to run cables. So, sometimes I will make those changes and accommodations for things, but it has to make sense for future improvements of
Right.
the company. I don't think it'll be for just a one time thing or just because of one situation or scenario. It'll have to make sense for moving on as progression and growth of the company for me at least.
Absolutely. It has to be something that is not a one-time use. It has to be
Right.
something where you see yourself using it over and over again. And I think that's the when I make investment into my just like when and I know it was a big investment, but when I spent $4,000 on those Bose speakers, it changed my whole level of performance.
Right.
So that $4,000 investment was worth it because now I have a better sound quality, and at the same time, it's convenient as far as I don't have to make two trips to take in speakers.
Correct.
With the other speakers that I was using, which was whew, I just went blank. I haven't used them in so long, but the Bose what were they? The F ones.
Not the F. I was
Yeah,
just saying.
yeah, the F1 series. The F1 series. It made it easier because I'm not having to take a larger load, and then it also made it convenient to where now I don't have to take my trailer. I can just take my truck by itself.
Yeah.
Um, and so when we as DJs are purchasing equipment, we have to purchase it to where it meets all the requirements of the customers, but it also makes it easier for us to like move in and move out. I know, like with me, I work alone. I know Chris, he has sometimes he'll have a staff with him when he goes out does his events. So all that is considerate goes into the costs. And one of the things that like what we talked about, well, I know we jumped off this on this, but we'll go back to the cost. The cost has gotten is really, and that's one of the things I want to talk about is why is the price for a DJ going up? I mean, once upon a time, the average cost for a DJ for a wedding was like $549, like five, well, excuse me, $541, and that was maybe 5 years ago. But that's just straight DJ. That's not talking about the light systems, all that. Just straight playing music. It was like $541. Now, that's just to do a basic DJ with sound. The starting cost I think was like nine. Was it 900 or 1,000?
Starting cost it was ranging for like 1,000, pretty much for
That's pretty
NC.
much that's what I thought.
Mhm.
So it's like people need to understand it now. Are we going to be replaced in 2025? I had,
So
I went to this last week. Was it a week? Yeah, 2 weeks. No, not last week. I went to this episode last week. Are
right.
we going to be replaced?
So we'll get into that. So we'll give some of the key industry trends for 2025, and then we'll go in because that's kind of a segue into that.
Right, right, right.
So key industry trends, technology integration,
Ooh,
right?
that's a big word.
Uh, increase updates, adoption of integrated streaming libraries. So stuff like Tidal, SoundCloud Go, Beatport. Basically, like I alluded to earlier, that I use Tidal when I don't have a particular song in my library. I will stream it. However, it has been becoming more and more that I think DJs are relying on those streaming services solely for their libraries. Uh, One of the guys in our group just posted one of the karaoke softwares they use went down, and it wasn't him, but they saw it in a group, and the DJ had an event that night and was kind of freaking out. So that's a big one for these integrated streaming services.
Right,
Um, then you have advanced digital DJ equipment. So that's basically like our controllers. Like you got the Rain Performer that just came out. You have the Alpha Theta that's coming
right.
out with all kind of craziness, and then you have the Rev 7. So you know, um, and then they're saying hybrid event capabilities becoming a standard, which is crazy. I hope not.
What's that word? Say that again.
Hybrid event capabilities becoming a standard.
Okay, what does that mean?
So basically, you're taking on different event capabilities, as far as just not just DJing.
Oh, you talking about like what I do?
Right,
Okay.
right. I look. I don't know how you look. I'll be coming home and with all kind of Bengay, Icy Hot, Raps, everything on me if I did everything you did.
Well, and I think that, and I've been doing that for years, and I think that's where becoming. I call it being multi-talented
Right.
as a DJ, being able, and because technology is allowing us to be able to do it easier.
Yep.
Because
So go ahead. No, go ahead.
no, so like for me, because I look at over the years, I look at how my setup has changed,
Hmm.
and the biggest part of it is the technology that's coming up. Just like with the iPad Pro, you can't the stuff that I do. You have to have an iPad Pro versus an iPad, just a regular iPad,
Right.
because you can't do all the things like the video, the pictures, and everything with a regular iPad. That makes a big difference. Just the 4K video cameras, that makes a big difference. And I think that's where, as a video DJ, I'm able to market myself completely different than a regular DJ.
Right.
And I
Right.
think that hybrid, I think that's what it is that it comes down to being able to market yourself to where you're giving the customer a lot more than just playing. Well, what they claim we're just playing music, but we're doing a lot more
Correct.
for the client, the customer.
And don't get me wrong, that can also blend into just uplighting, right?
Right,
Because not every DJ does uplighting. So
right,
uplighting falls up into that hybrid event
right,
capabilities. Photo booth, because I also incorporate photo booth. So
right,
that also plays off into that. So don't I wouldn't get too focused on, or get too scared of a hybrid event capabilities becoming standard, because a lot of DJs might already do it. Uplighting, if they have a photo booth, if they do monograms, that I mean it's a hybrid
right. That's
event
hybrid.
capability, right? So some things that they consider hybrid, again, it's becoming a standard. So we're thinking it's standardized now. So
Right, and that's what made it different for us. That's where, as a DJ versus a DJ entertainer, is being able to provide those additional services, because now you're providing a full entertainment package
right,
versus just being a DJ. And I don't think that's one of the first things I jumped when I went from just DJing at the mall and jumped into doing weddings. I wanted to be able to do uplighting and monogram, and that was the first two services that I added. And then as time grew, I should say grown, I learned to implement more things, because the better your package, your entertainment package is, of course, the value of your services goes up, but a customer will prefer to go to you
correct,
versus try to piece it all together.
correct. Yep. So we'll circle back to the technology integration, right? So that's a big topic, because technology is integrated to a lot of things we do. Just like your Bose, how it has the Bluetooth already incorporated in it. So it has the what is it, the Bluetooth devices on the back of them.
No,
Correct.
see, no, well, like with the new Bose, it not only has the Bluetooth capability, but it also has the what's it? I want to call it. It's not even Bluetooth, but it's a signal to where you got the XR adapters,
Right.
and you can actually plug that directly into your controller or
Correct.
into microphones, and it takes away the wireless. It's kind of like who was it? The first one that came out with it was years ago, and I cannot think of the name of the company. APEC. It was a something. I'm trying to remember. It was because I have it now in the 80. It was the ADTO or 80.
I'm not sure.
It's the wireless system for speakers.
Are you talking? You're not talking about. You're not talking about. I can't think of it because I think are you, the ones that had the box and
Right, and the
I know who you're
adapters.
talking about. Yeah, yeah.
It's the Alto.
Alto. Thank you. Yep,
Alto.
Alto. Yeah. I
Alto.
had those. Yep, yep. Okay, okay.
So Bose is the first one. I think they're the first ones that come out to where they have the straight connection from the speaker to the controller. Where Alto's been
I
up there for
think
years.
Bose and Alpha Theta came out about the same time because Alpha Theta has their own little system that
Wireless system,
does
right?
right. But Alpha Theta and you can connect another speaker to that speaker as
Right,
well.
right.
So I know. So excuse me. That's one of the technology integrations that we're seeing. AI, AI, AI is definitely integrating. So um, we won't get too deep in this today because I'm still playing around with it and kind of doing some research. But this will be a future podcast. But currently using AI right now, and it's like virtual assistants, and they do all kind of sorts of things, right?
Right,
They can draft a business plan, they can draft emails, they can draft data analysis, they can draft anything you could think of, pretty much. But you give it parameters, and you could tell it to talk like you. You could tell it to do certain
right,
things. You could tell it to. You can link it to your actual website. One thing I'll be playing around with is the SEO to see how well it integrates with SEO and tells me what SEO issues that I'm having. But I mean, AI is an up and coming thing. It's not going anywhere. Um,
right. And what people, just to make sure clear, get some clarity, what Chris is talking about is more so for the DJ, in his company, in his business. When we talk AI, it's more talking about behind the scenes on how to improve the business aspect of advertising, getting customers, getting clients, operational things. Those are things that are crucial because with AI, and if you haven't figured it out, for some DJs, you can actually make sound bits and stuff like that with AI now.
Correct.
Um, and it's easier versus going in. I use Magic to make my sound bits and stuff, and it takes a lot longer. With AI, it doesn't take that long at
Right.
all.
Yep. Yep. So once I figure out ins and outs, and I can give you a comprehensive, comprehensive review on it, I definitely will.
Right?
I will say it's a little pricey. So I will give you
Yes, it
that.
is.
It's a little pricey.
Yes, it is.
So I took one for the team for everyone. So I'm doing a trial on it, and I'll let you know how it turns out. So far, I'm kind of impressed with it so far. Um, there are things that I've already do with my company, and I have for my company that is trying to do, and I'm like, I don't need it. So it's like, okay. So I'm like, so now what else can you do?
Right.
So I'm trying to navigate that as well. But and this is, I would say, this is maybe for your intro DJ that maybe has that little extra cash, that wants to kind of get a real head of the game. So
Or if
I'll
you don't,
say
it's really a great tool for those that don't know how to properly market their business.
correct.
It's very critical. I mean, some of the stuff that we were discussing before the show, I was doing a lot of this stuff. I've been doing it for years, and to hear how this AI spit that stuff out, it took me years to learn how to do it. But the AI went in after he input his information to the company, and it spit out all the details on what he needed to do, and it just blew my mind. I'm like, wow, it took me years to learn that, and the AI just
Right.
did it within 10 minutes.
Not even
So
10 minutes, like maybe 5 minutes.
maybe five, maybe a
Yeah,
minute,
I
2 minutes.
yeah.
Yeah. So
So, so basically, just behind it is it's supposed to take away. It's supposed to be the assistant, right? It's supposed to take away you having to go out and pay an assistant, right? That's basically what it is. So, if you are already paying assistant and you're not happy with the assistant, then I mean, this might be a great tool for you, because now they do have a mobile app. I will say the mobile app is only on Apple Store, so you can only use it on Apple products. Not that big a deal for me. I have an iPad. I'm an Android team Android, but I use it on my iPad. So, and then of course I use it on the desktop. So it's, like I said, kind of early stages. So I'll kind of give you a review on that one. Um, and then, far as other AI driven, you have what? I forgot. Oh, Aaron Taylor with Cray Hackers. I've been following him. So I say this: I was a part of Cray Hackers when it first came out. I didn't renew it with them. Just I guess for me, I just didn't find any value in it when I was with it. Now I have heard other DJs say they found value with it, so could be something that another DJ could find value in. I think they do have a great product for certain DJs and other DJs. Just it didn't have a. I didn't have, like, again, for me personally, it just didn't hit what I was needing.
right,
But within this past year, he's used something similar to Chat GPT, and he's put different coding and customizations in to where I guess it creates like the perfect playlist off of what you're playing and what you input to
Right.
play. And I thought that was kind of interesting.
It's kind of like it's like what Spotify does.
Right,
When you choose one song, it gives you other recommendations. It's just like
right,
before Sereno took down Pyro. That's what Pyro was doing, the same thing. It would find the right songs that would properly mix into it.
right.
And of course, a lot of people felt jeopardized, felt like Pyro was going to take their job. So they protested, and Sereno took it down, disabled it to where you can't. I mean, I still have it. I can use it, but I can't do anything else with it. I can't upgrade it. There's no updates or nothing for it.
Correct. Now that's
So
what I was gonna say. I still advise DJs to get that skill,
right,
because if it ever goes down, chat cheap, that product ever goes down or it has hiccups or whatever, you're still gonna have to be able to do it manually. It's just one of those things that maybe you're at a event that you just have a hard crowd, and no matter what you're playing, or what you think you're playing is correct, it's just not getting a reaction. Maybe you put in something that got you a small reaction, and then it's just kind of, you put that in there, and then it spider webs out to something that you never even thought of. I don't know.
right.
Like I said, I don't have it. I don't subscribe to it, so I just see the ads and everything that he talks about it. But I mean, it's out there for DJs to use. I don't. I'm not one of those DJs that's like, oh, that's cheating. I don't care. You do whatever you need to do.
Yeah, you
I
do
could
everything
care
to get the
less.
job done. Absolutely.
I
And I think that's one of the biggest pieces of being a DJ is you have all the right tools. I think DJ Jazzy Jeff said it. He said it in a post where it was brought. They asked him a question during I think it was a webinar or something like that. And he just said, "Look, whatever tools that you think is best for you, use those tools. It makes it easier for you. You're not cheating. It just makes it easier for you to perform as a DJ." And I think that's something that's crucial. Like with me, I am an old school DJ, so I don't really care too much for the streaming because I rather have physical stuff present to where I have access to it than rely on a connection to get to the music.
right,
And I mean, I stress that because I have one DJ who he freaked out because the Wi-Fi wasn't working too well where he was located at,
right.
and by not having that Wi-Fi, he was not prepared or nor did he have anything else. That's why he came to me and got an external hard drive. And just like with Spotify, YouTube, and what is the other one? Spotify, YouTube, and Apple Music. Um, be careful on the music you select from those platforms. What we as DJs, as professional DJs, the stuff we get from our record pools is going to be different. Um, I've had that. That was a major hiccup thing last year. Was if you're asking for a particular thing off of YouTube,
Exactly.
there might be a block on it to where we can't access that song to be able to be played. Because I don't like live streaming during a ceremony. When I say, well, not stream, excuse me, not live stream, but streaming during a ceremony. So that means if I'm playing something from YouTube, it might freeze, it might go away, the internet connection might go. So I don't like to do that. So I stress that to people, and please don't let YouTube and Apple get you in trouble. Um, I stress that to people because, like, really more so YouTube, Apple Music, and Spotify Music is normally okay because Spotify's got to the point where it's able to match everything that's on YouTube, and I think that's the best improvement I've seen in 2024.
Right.
Is Spotify is matching. I saw a lot of stuff that I didn't see on Spotify before is now on Spotify, especially your underground music. And speaking of underground music, for my DJs that love to play underground music, if you're not playing to the crowd that listens to that music, you are going to fail in entertaining your guests. For some odd reason, I keep seeing this problem with the DJs. In 2024, that was the biggest issue, is you had a lot of DJs, but now there's a difference between playing remix music and underground music.
Right.
Underground music is stuff that people don't hear on a regular basis. Um, Most of the stuff that falls into that category is a lot of your like your skate music is considered underground music. Only skaters are familiar with most of the music, and it's very rare that if you play skate music at any other event, a lot of people gonna look at you crazy. So you got to know the right crowd, the right to when to play the music. I had one DJ, he didn't understand what he did wrong, but I asked, "What did you play?" Well, he played a lot of the what was it called? What's it called? Not the rhythm and blues, but
Soul,
the juke joint music,
Southern Soul.
Southern soul music. Now, Southern soul music, don't get me wrong, it's starting to become into the mainstream now.
Hmm.
I'm starting to see a lot more Southern soul. That's one of the things I did notice in 2024 is a lot of Southern soul music is now getting put in the record pools. I know, like King George, he made a major. He was like one of the main ones you can find in the record pool now. Uh, that's something that people need to understand is that Southern soul, even though it's great music, it is considered underground music, but it's making a breakthrough to where now you're starting to see in the record pools.
Right.
And what people understand is that if you don't hear it on the radio or you don't hear it being played at your local club or skating rink or anything, majority of the time is going to be underground music because most time underground music is music that's not popular. That's not popular to the whole, like I should say the whole scenario of everybody. Um, when you play underground music, it's only dedicated towards a certain crowd, and when you have a mixed crowd, you can't play underground music. That is the biggest way to fail as a DJ, and I think
Right.
that is something that people need to understand that when you have a large crowd of people, let's say you have 100 people, but 15 of those people listen to, let's say, underground as skate music or southern soul, then what's the other 85 people going to think of what you're playing?
Yep.
So you got to know how to read your crowd, and I think that's the biggest thing now. I'm starting to see is you're starting to see more DJs play music that they want to hear more so they're playing for themselves and not to the crowd.
Right. Right. Number one mistake.
Number one mistake. Well, my one friend out there, he likes it. Okay, but what about the other 99 people? And that's just like again, that's just an old traditional DJ is you're playing to the crowd. You're playing to entertain the crowd. You're not playing for yourself. But a lot of DJs now they'll go in there and they'll play their hit list that they listen to in their car as the primary, and it just doesn't go over too well.
Yep. Yep.
But what other trends are you seeing that that you saw in 2024 that's actually better for the business?
Um. What else did I see? Honestly, just more events, more events popping up. We've looked like we have now really come out of that COVID phase.
Right,
However, of course, in North Carolina with the flooding, that might affect some of those events up there.
right,
Don't know how it's going to really affect most of the events down here. I hadn't really seen any issues. We actually might see a little bit more events down here this way, just due to a lot of venues and vendors not being able to provide services up there.
right,
But um, the trend is events are back on,
right,
and most times they seem like they're trying to go all out. Most time I'm getting my middle package. They're wanting pretty much the photo booth. They're wanting monogram
right,
uplighting. They're wanting that as standard. And then I've also got a lot more the dancing on the cloud. They're wanting that. So they're kind of back on with the big weddings. It seems like it's back on.
right. And I agree with you on that because I like this year was probably my best years since after COVID, and the requests the what people are looking for. I mean, even my corporate, I had more corporate events in 2024 than the entire time I've been in business,
Right.
and I'm starting to see like Fort Liberty, the trend that I picked up at Fort Liberty. I think I had a total of like five events that were connected to Fort Liberty, which is normally I only get maybe one or two. but recently my numbers for corporate have gone up tremendously. I'm starting to see you're starting to see more things outside of weddings too, because I think I had more birthday parties, more celebrations, more retirement. I had a lot more retirements too. I guess it's just like everybody's retiring retired in 2024.
Right.
So having a package that meets all the requirements is a plus, and I think that's what people need to understand is that hybrid. What we talked about before, the more you become to where you can meet more needs, the quicker you are going to become more employed doing events. And even if it's just a simple like getting uplighting, I always tell people uplighting and monogram are probably the two cheapest, I can say cheapest, but two services that are reasonable to add on and it won't really cost a lot.
Yep. Yeah.
So but improving your capabilities, because like I sit back and people are like, well, how are you able to get booked so far in advance? Well, I offer a lot in my packages. It's like, and then don't get me wrong, my prices are kind of extremely affordable,
Right.
which makes me a little bit different because there's not too many DJs that are video DJs. There's not too many DJs
Right.
that are
Correct.
being able to highlight, live stream, and promote the event all at the same time. So
Correct.
those are
Correct.
things that I tell people be a little more creative. Now, first, focus on the basics and then expand. Get your basics down first and then expand.
Correct. Yep.
But that's one of those things that like the average cost. I think we talked about this before. Uh, the numbers are going up tremendously, a lot higher than ever. The numbers are like so. The industry lets us know getting good. We're getting better. But for people that are doing this, that are not full timers, and you're just part timers, I mean, still put forth the right effort because no matter what one of us do, it represents all of us. And that's one of the things people don't understand. And then teamwork. It is so crucial that we understand that if one person fails, we all fail as vendors. And I think this is one of the things that people who are not really in it for the right reasons don't understand. If one person fails, if the caterer fails to bring the food, if the DJ fails to show up on time, if the videographer forgets his camera, or he or she forgets their camera, it's like all it takes is for one of us to fail, and it ruins the day. It doesn't matter. I could be the best DJ in the
Exactly.
world, but I can't make up for the caterer not showing up. I can't make up
Exactly.
for the
Exactly.
cake coming in upside down. I mean, these are
Exactly.
things that we have to work together to make sure we're successful. It's like as a DJ, I'm going to promote all vendors. If the vendor's there, I might not know nothing about them, but I'm going to promote them
Promote
just as
them.
well because then it
Exactly.
shows that we're working together for the better good for the customer, for the client. And it's difficult when we do have situations where a vendor doesn't show up. I had this happen the week before Christmas. We had a vendor
Hmm.
didn't show up. The caterer didn't show up, and because the caterer didn't show up, the event was supposed to start at 11 o'clock. The event didn't start until about 2 o'clock, and it was over at 4.
I remember you telling me
And
about it.
that to me was like it worked out. It still worked out great. Everything came together. It was perfect, but it's just one of those things to where we have to understand that one hiccup, one mistake ruins it for all of us. And that's why it's crucial
Yeah.
that we network as DJs. We need to look. We need to get out of this simple. I'm going to show up, do my thing, and go home. You need to network. I know, Chris. This is one of the things you was talking about. Was you take way more time than I thought I was good at doing it, but you take way more time to properly network. I think my network. I have built a strong network with vendors and venues, to where I know who who is who and what is what and what to expect.
Right. Right.
Some of the newer ones, I'm slowly but surely learning who they are, but majority of the ones that've been in for a while, I know I can rely on them
Right.
to do
Yep.
what's right, or I know what to expect.
So look,
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, I know you try to keep it at an
Yeah, I
hour.
said,
We're at an hour
ooh,
and 20, so I wanna end on this, and then this will piggyback off of what you just said, right? So, um, basically, for 2025, based just some suggested, uh, you know, trends or development. Develop preferred vendor relationships with 2 to 3 premium vendor per market. So, like your photographers, videographers, even other DJs, right? Because I don't look at DJs as competition.
right.
There's like I'm on DJ. We don't all do the same thing. Uh, so what Mario does, I don't do. What others do, I don't do. So I don't. There's enough money out here for everybody. So create venue specific packages. I don't do that, and I probably won't do that. However, I do have specific packages for weddings, corporate events, and then I know Mario has like school packages. So I do have like some that are community packages, and then offer venue exclusive specials. Again, Mario and I kind of pitched that idea around with each other. I don't offer that. I just that's something that just as a company model I don't do. But what doesn't work for me or what I don't do might work for
Right.
you. Um, and then um, when you look at North Carolina and this area, so currently Raleigh Durham has a higher average of spending for our industry. Wilmington is considered a
Right.
destination for weddings because of the beach. Charlotte is more of a corporate
Right.
events, metropolitan area. So that's where you're going to see more of your corporate events. And then Asheville is also going to be considered destination now. Granted, Asheville was hit with that devastation, so that one they are currently rebuilding. But um, so there's some more trends.
And and I think that's like what just to end things real quick, to get ready for 2025. You got to be able to get out there, and you got to be visible. If it's not on social media, and I keep stressing this to my DJs. If you're not visible on social media, I mean, this goes for any vendor. If you're not visible on social media, you technically don't exist. I
Correct.
mean, don't get me wrong, word of mouth has always been the most popular way to advertise. But if you're not out there, you don't have a social media platform, you really do not exist. It's crucial that you get out there. Technology is changing, and without that social media platform, you're pretty much not going to get a lot of hits, not unless it's word of mouth. And then most time, word of mouth depends on who that word of mouth. It might lower your value. So you
Exactly.
really have to focus on having a good social media platform to promote yourself. Um, and like what Chris said also is we are all working together. We're not competing with each other. You should be going competing with yourself to improve your capabilities and what you can do. I stress this to people that I look at what I did 2024. So now, what am I going to do better in 2025? How I'm going to improve my business.
Exactly.
That's the only one you should be competing with. You should be competing with the DJs because actually everybody's different. Everyone has a different method. Everyone has different ways of conducting business. So it's crucial that pay attention to numbers. It doesn't take a lot of effort to look at your numbers. A lot of people they don't only numbers they look at is the money they get put in their pocket. You got to look at all the numbers across the board. But with that being said, in 2025, to all my DJs, I wish y'all nothing but great luck. But if you need any help or assistance, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to reach out. I know when me and Chris met. Chris reached out to me. We kind of compared notes. We shared what we are doing, and bam, we have a network. Most of the DJs that I've networked with is we've reached out to each other, we've talked, we learned from each other. Like I've learned stuff from a lot of new DJs that especially some of
Right.
the new changes and new trends. And then as an old DJ, I have a lot of wisdom to provide on what works and what doesn't work.
Exactly. Exactly.
But with that being said, again, happy New Year's to everybody. It's 2025. We ain't taking no prisoners. We're going out here. We're going to knock it out the park.
Yes, sir. Let's get to
All
work.
right. Well, I hope y'all enjoyed the show. We're going to try to do this. I know, just if y'all don't know, Chris does have a full-time job, so it's hard to. We have to work with his schedule. I'm retired; he's not, so we have to work with his schedule. So what we're trying to do is we're going to try to see if we can do this at least once a week or once a month or once. We're going to try to get in the flow of doing this because Chris is a walking I'm gonna say a walking Google person when it comes to technology, because I've learned a lot about technology. Like he gets down into the weeds of stuff. I'm like, all I want to do is push a power button. I don't want all the extra stuff. But he is a good source into getting to learn more in reference to more tech stuff, and especially the streaming apps. I have yet to even to experience those. But Chris, he knows all that. All right.
I try to at least.
But, you know, wave me because I was like, I'm afraid to touch it. That's one thing I have not touched yet is the streaming because I keep seeing it. Don't get me wrong, I see it on Virtual DJ, I see it on Soretto, even on PC DJ. I saw it on PC DJ and say what was it was an upgrade, I guess an update, and I had no idea what it was. And when I clicked on it, I'm like, okay, but I can't play. Oh, I gotta pay this? No, I'm like, no, I can't. No. So,
Yep. Yep.
but again, welcome to 2025, and we will talk to y'all another time.
Have a
All
good one.
right. Yeah. And just so y'all know, this is this is a app thingy. There we go. All right, there it is. All right, here we go. We'll see y'all later.